Mary stepped into the grocery store with quiet determination, her worn coat pulled tightly around her shoulders against the chill. Accompanying her was her 8-year-old grandson, Liam, whose bright eyes took in every detail of the bustling aisles. For Mary, every visit to the store was a careful balancing act. Each coin in her small change meticulously counted to ensure she could buy the essentials. Today, she intended to purchase rice, milk, bread, and perhaps one small treat that reminded Liam of happier times. Despite the hardships that had become all too familiar since the loss of her daughter, Mary made every effort to keep a brave face for Liam. As they approached the checkout, Mary's gentle hands trembled slightly while she sorted through her coins on the counter. Liam stood by her side, clutching a package of chocolate cookies, a favorite his late mother used to buy, a symbol of love and remembrance that warmed his heart even on the coldest days. Their modest cart, filled with essentials, spoke of sacrifice and quiet resilience. However, their moment of fragile hope was abruptly shattered when Brad, the cashier, glanced at the small pouch of coins with an impatient sneer. "Coins? Seriously? This isn't a bank!" Brad barked, loud enough for everyone in line to hear. His tone was laced with cruelty as he began ridiculing Mary, his words sharp and unyielding. "I hope you're ready to waste everyone's time counting these," he continued, shaking his head dismissively. His eyes, cold and judgmental, scanned Mary's simple attire and the worn expression on her face. Every word he uttered hit her like a physical blow, and though Mary tried desperately to maintain her composure for Liam's sake, her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Liam, sensing his grandmother's distress, squeezed her hand tightly, his small face etched with confusion and hurt. The murmurs of nearby customers grew louder as Brad continued his tirade, his voice growing even more contemptuous. "Maybe next time, bring a card like normal people," he said with a smirk that made Mary's heart sink. In that moment, every minute felt like an eternity as Mary painstakingly counted out her change. The humiliation was unbearable, but she pressed on, refusing to let her grandson see her break. Unbeknownst to everyone, a man standing quietly a few paces behind in the line had been watching the entire scene with a solemn, unwavering gaze. Dressed in a dark jacket and sporting dark sunglasses that concealed his eyes, his presence was almost ghost-like amidst the commotion. He had seen enough cruelty in the world to know that this behavior was unacceptable. As Brad's voice grew louder and more mocking, the man's jaw tightened. He moved forward slowly, his steps deliberate as he approached the counter. When Brad launched into another sarcastic remark, this time suggesting that Mary should come back another day if she didn't have actual money, the man finally spoke. "That's enough," he said, his voice deep and calm, yet carrying a weight that silenced the murmurs around him. Startled, Brad paused mid-sentence, glancing up as the man removed his sunglasses to reveal eyes that burned with quiet determination and empathy. "You have no right to treat her this way," he continued, his tone firm. "She is doing her best, and there's no shame in counting coins when every penny matters." A hush fell over the line as everyone turned to watch. Liam's eyes widened, uncertain of what was happening but clearly relieved to see someone standing up for his grandmother. Mary, too, felt a flicker of hope amid the cruelty. Brad, caught off guard and momentarily speechless, attempted to retort, but the man's presence had shifted the power in the room. "Respect is not optional, and kindness should be extended to everyone, especially those who have nothing to spare but their dignity," he said, his words resonating deeply with the onlookers. For a long moment, silence reigned as the man's intervention hung in the air. Then, slowly, the cashier's hostile expression began to falter, replaced by a look of regret. Mary, tears welling in her eyes, could barely believe that someone had come to her defense. Liam clutched her hand even tighter, his small face a mixture of confusion and gratitude. The man in the dark jacket stepped closer to Mary, offering a gentle nod before addressing her softly. "Don't worry, ma'am. I'm here to help." His unexpected act of compassion, delivered with quiet strength, transformed the atmosphere. Other customers began to murmur their support, and even Brad's tone softened as he, for the first time, recognized the cruelty of his actions. In that moment, a simple act of standing up for dignity had rippled through the line, rekindling a sense of hope and humanity. Mary, with trembling fingers, resumed counting her coins, but now she was not alone. The man's calm presence reassured her, and Liam's innocent eyes shone with newfound hope. As the transaction was eventually completed, with the cashier's earlier harshness replaced by reluctant apologies, the store's atmosphere began to change. What had started as a day marked by humiliation was slowly transforming into a testament to the power of unexpected kindness, a reminder that even in the face of public ridicule, compassion can restore dignity. And as Mary and Liam left the store, the memory of that moment lingered, a beacon of hope in a world that sometimes forgets the importance of treating one another with respect. After the confrontation, the atmosphere in the grocery store began to shift as the man in the dark jacket, whose unexpected intervention had just silenced the cruel remarks, stepped back to allow the tension to dissipate. The murmurs of the other customers grew into quiet whispers of approval and empathy, and the harsh fluorescent lights seemed to soften as if reflecting the change in energy. Mary, still trembling from the ordeal, felt a glimmer of relief wash over her. The stranger's firm but compassionate words had not only defended her dignity but had also restored her hope, if only for a moment. The man moved closer to Mary and Liam, his posture relaxed yet resolute. "Are you both all right?" he asked in a measured tone that carried genuine concern. Mary nodded slowly, her eyes welling with tears that mingled gratitude with lingering embarrassment. Liam, his small hand still clutching his favorite package of cookies, looked up at the man with wide, curious eyes, silently seeking reassurance. "I'm fine, thank you," Mary managed to reply, her voice barely above a whisper. The man offered a gentle smile, a silent promise that he was there to help. Taking charge of the situation, the man led Mary and Liam toward a quieter corner of the store, away from the judging stares of other customers. "Please, don't let this experience shake you," he said softly. "Sometimes people forget that everyone deserves a little kindness." As they walked, he listened attentively as Mary recounted in halting, heartfelt sentences the difficulties she faced every day, how she scrimped and saved every penny to keep Liam fed, how each grocery trip was a challenge in dignity and pride. The man's eyes softened with understanding, and he assured her that her struggles were seen, that her perseverance was something to be admired rather than mocked. Meanwhile, the repercussions of the incident began to take shape beyond the confines of the store. A young customer who had recorded the altercation was busy posting the video on social media. Within hours, the footage spread like wildfire, sparking an outpouring of support for Mary and condemnation of the cashier's behavior. Hashtags and posts flooded online communities, with people praising the stranger's intervention and calling for better treatment of those who find themselves vulnerable. News outlets picked up on the story, and soon it wasn't just a local incident. It had become a symbol of the need for empathy in everyday transactions. Back inside the store, the man in the dark jacket, whose quiet intervention had already begun to change hearts, decided to take further action. He approached the checkout area and spoke with the manager, urging that the incident be formally addressed. "This isn't just about one conversation," he explained calmly. "It's about ensuring that every customer, regardless of their means, is treated with respect and dignity." The manager, clearly chastened by the viral fallout and the palpable shift in customer sentiment, promised to review the store's policies. The cashier, Brad, who had initially hurled hurtful remarks, hung his head in regret as he listened. Though his apology to Mary had been tentative, it was now echoed by several customers demanding accountability and reform. Later that day, as the store began to quiet down after a bustling afternoon, Mary and Liam returned to finish their shopping. The environment was markedly different. Staff greeted them warmly, and the tension that had marred their first visit was replaced by a cautious kindness. Brad approached Mary once more, this time with a sincere apology that trembled in his voice. "I'm truly sorry for what happened earlier," he said, his eyes reflecting remorse. Mary, though still hurt, accepted his apology with the quiet dignity that had defined her all along. Liam looked up at Brad, his small face confused yet hopeful, and in that moment, a bridge of understanding began to form, even if it was fragile and tentative. Outside the store, as the evening light softened into dusk, the man who had intervened lingered for a moment. He stepped back onto the sidewalk and removed his sunglasses, revealing eyes that shone with a mix of compassion and quiet resolve. No one knew his name that day, but whispers in the store and online speculated about his identity, a man who could be anyone, yet who had chosen that moment to stand up against injustice. For Mary and Liam, his intervention had been nothing short of life-changing. The kindness he showed not only eased their immediate pain, but also rekindled a hope that things could get better. Over the next few days, as the video continued to circulate and spark discussions on empathy and respect, Mary found herself receiving unexpected messages from strangers. Letters and texts poured in, offering words of encouragement and support. Some even offered help in small ways: grocery gift cards, invitations to community events, and other tokens of solidarity. These gestures, though varied in scale, reinforced the idea that kindness could spread far beyond a single act. Mary began to feel that she was not invisible, that her struggles and resilience resonated with a wider community that was eager to support her. Liam, too, sensed the shift. His once somber demeanor had given way to a cautious optimism, his eyes no longer clouded by confusion but alight with the possibility of a brighter future. Every smile from a passerby, every supportive comment online seemed to validate the message that kindness, no matter how small, could indeed change lives. In a quiet corner of her modest home that evening, Mary sat with Liam by her side, reflecting on the tumultuous day. The memory of the cashier's harsh words still stung, but the overwhelming wave of support had begun to wash away the bitterness. Mary's heart, though scarred by hardship, was slowly healing, and as she looked into Liam's innocent eyes, she resolved to continue fighting for his happiness and security, no matter the obstacles. The man in the dark jacket had not only intervened at the moment of crisis, but had also ignited a ripple effect of empathy that reached far beyond the walls of that grocery store. His anonymous act of kindness reminded everyone who witnessed it that respect and dignity are priceless, and that sometimes one person's courage can light the way for countless others. And in that moment of shared humanity, a small community found hope. A hope that, even in a world that often forgets its most vulnerable, compassion could prevail. In the days that followed the viral incident, the ripple effects of that fateful day began to reshape Mary and Liam's world in ways they never imagined. The video, recorded by a young customer and shared across social media platforms, quickly ignited a wave of support and solidarity. News outlets covered the story, and soon the humble grocery store became a symbol of how a single act of courage and kindness could spark a community-wide call for change. Messages of encouragement poured in from across the country, and Mary found herself receiving not only kind words but also practical offers of assistance. Local charities sent grocery gift cards, and several community members reached out to offer help with everyday necessities. Even strangers, moved by the compassionate intervention of the man in the dark jacket, began organizing small fundraisers and support networks to help families like Mary's. The impact on the store was equally profound. In response to the public outcry, the management announced a comprehensive review of customer service policies. A new training program was instituted to emphasize empathy, patience, and respect for all customers, regardless of their financial situation. Brad, the cashier whose harsh words had once echoed down the aisle, was given a formal warning and enrolled in sensitivity training. The atmosphere in the store slowly shifted from one of silent judgment to one of mindful service, as employees made a conscious effort to treat every patron with the dignity they deserved. For Mary, these changes brought more than just a renewed sense of hope. They ignited the spark of empowerment. With the burden of daily humiliation gradually lifting, she began to see possibilities where before there was only struggle. Encouraged by the kindness she had received, Mary started attending community meetings at the local center, where she met others facing similar hardships. There, she found not only practical advice on managing finances and accessing support services, but also a space where her story was heard and valued. Over time, Mary became an active voice in the community, sharing her experiences and advocating for the rights of the vulnerable. Her journey from silent suffering to vocal resilience inspired many, and her story became a beacon of hope in a world too often indifferent to those in need. Liam, too, experienced a transformation. The young boy, once visibly anxious and confused by the harshness of the world, began to smile more freely as he absorbed the outpouring of love around him. He found joy in small moments: a new toy offered by a neighbor, the friendly wave of a community volunteer, or simply the reassuring presence of his grandmother as she navigated the challenges of daily life with newfound confidence. His innocent laughter became a cherished sound in their modest home, a constant reminder that hope could thrive even in the most unlikely places. Meanwhile, the mysterious man in the dark jacket remained an enigmatic presence in the story. Though his identity was never publicly revealed, his act of intervention had set off a chain reaction that extended far beyond the confines of that grocery store. He became a symbol, a reminder that one person's courage could challenge systemic cruelty and inspire lasting change. People began calling him the guardian of kindness, and his quiet defiance became a rallying cry for those who believed in the power of compassion. Letters and social media messages flooded in from around the globe, thanking him for reminding everyone that respect and empathy are universal rights. Though he never sought recognition or fame, his impact was undeniable, and his actions helped transform the narrative around poverty and dignity. In the weeks that followed, Mary and Liam's lives began to improve in tangible ways. With support from the community, Mary was able to secure additional resources to help with their everyday needs. She enrolled Liam in a better school, where he thrived academically and socially, and found a part-time position at a local community center that allowed her to contribute her own skills while connecting with others in similar situations. The sense of isolation that had once defined their existence was slowly replaced by a vibrant network of care and solidarity. One crisp evening, as Mary and Liam sat together in their small living room, the television buzzed with a news segment highlighting the transformation at the grocery store and the viral story that had captured the hearts of millions. The reporter spoke passionately about how one act of kindness had spurred systemic change, reshaping attitudes and policies in favor of empathy. Mary's eyes filled with tears, not of sorrow, but of profound gratitude. She looked at Liam, whose smile was brighter than ever, and whispered, "See, darling, even in the darkest moments there's light. We have each other, and we have hope." The story of that day, marked by cruelty turned to kindness and humiliation, transformed into dignity, became a powerful reminder that every act of compassion has the potential to change lives. It was a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the enduring truth that when we treat each other with respect, even the smallest gestures can create ripples that reach far beyond our own lives. And as Mary and Liam continued on their journey, they carried with them the memory of that extraordinary day, a day when one man's brave stand against injustice had lit the way for a brighter, kinder future.